Good morning, Laredo. Welcome to 24/7 Laredo Talk Show. It's an original, free, and independent news and lifestyle channel dedicated to talking about the issues affecting Laredo and surrounding areas. Hi, I'm Jesus Garza, your host of the show. You can follow us by pressing the like button on the 24/7 Laredo Facebook page, and you can stay informed that way. We do have a very special guest today. We have Jessica Cisneros, who's actually running for Congress in our district, District 28, against Congressman Henry Cuellar. It's the first time she comes to the show, and I'm really happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Gracias, Chuy.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I think that's the first thing people want to know, where you came from, because you came out of nowhere for many people. So I want them to know a little bit about yourself.
I didn't come out of nowhere. I was born and
You've always
raised
been
here
here,
in Laredo,
exactly.
Texas. I'm from the San Cipoles neighborhood. I am the proud daughter of two Mexican immigrants, like many here in South Texas. And my parents and I have a sister. She's 10 years older than me and a niece. And together we were able to build a life for the Cisneros family here in Laredo. And because of my parents' hard work and our commitment to our family, my parents are now the proud parents of a doctor and a lawyer. And I'm currently an immigration and human rights attorney. And I've always dedicated my life to serving communities like mine, like my parents. And I was just so inspired by the people here in Laredo and the culture that I felt that the best thing for me to do was to be in a position where I can advocate for communities like mine.
Well, what school did you go to, at least college? Where did you go?
So I graduated from early college high school here, and then I went to undergrad and law school at the University of Texas. So I'm a double Longhorn.
Okay, sounds good. Well, what made you decide? Well, you said you're an immigration attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Is that pretty much what you're practicing for the most part, immigration?
Yes, that's what I was practicing up until I decided to launch the campaign. I dedicated myself to doing detained removal defense, which is helping people that are facing their immigration proceedings, their immigration court proceedings while they're detained.
Okay. Well, what made you decide to run for Congress? I mean, many people who start their careers, they say, you know what, I'm going to run for other types of particular races, but what attracted you to that position?
Well, I really do believe that South Texas needs a leader, a true Democrat in Congress. That's really the reason why I decided to run. I feel that I have one of the best experience I can give in Congress is being born and raised here and knowing the struggles and seeing it firsthand with my family, what they had to go through to be able to provide for a family here. And also, seeing the problems firsthand growing up here, first of all, but also second, it was a lot of my professional experience being an immigration attorney, especially under the age of Trump, saying that I could present the best cases possible, but I would always run into a judge that would tell me, I want to help you, I want to help your client, but I just can't because the laws just aren't there yet. So to me, that was a wake-up call because it was like, well, if the laws aren't there yet, if the laws are the problem, then let's go to Congress and let's fix them.
And of course, part of the problem, well, if we're talking about the judges, of course, the Department of Justice actually, the judges are all under the Department of
That's
Justice.
right.
And so you could surmise to some degree that many of the judges that are involved, they have to follow the procedures and protocols and obviously the regulations that they have in the Department of Justice. So, by the way, there has been a movement to try to get the judges as an independent part of the judiciary,
That's right.
but that has not happened yet.
No, and we've been focusing on the wrong things in terms of solutions to the immigration, debate. And for me, that would be, as an attorney, knowing how important it is to have an independent judiciary. To
Definitely.
me, that's one of the biggest solutions.
Coming back though to your original thought about running, how did your family react when you told them, you know what, did you just pop in Sunday morning and say, Mom, Dad, I'm going to run for Congress?
It was a collective decision because running for office isn't just something that affects me, it affects my family too. So not that this came as a surprise to them because they always felt like one day I was going to be doing something like this, like running for an office, because they know that I'm an advocate at heart.
Yeah.
So they knew that one day it was going to happen. We just didn't expect it to happen when I was 26, right? But I sat down, with them, and my family and I we're Christian, and we took a moment to think about it, to pray about it. Is this the right choice that I was going to make? And I thought to myself, because I was nominated by my high school teacher to the Justice Democrats who were recruiting a challenger against Henry Cuellar. so that's how I came under their radar, and I was thinking, like, am I the right person? But again, I reflected on my experiences and my professional experience as well. I talked to my family, and they said, dale adelante, échale ganas. And that's always what my family has done, like, supported everything that I believe in. And they know that we're ready for change here in South Texas, too. So that made the decision that much easier.
Well, is that part of your personal attributes that you bring to the table, a sense of collective discussions between different people to try to come up to some type of an agreement?
I mean, definitely, especially amongst families, right? Like here in South Texas, family is just, la familia is just a big value that we have. And bringing in collective decisions, like that's always been something that I pride myself in, because this race isn't about me. Like this race is about everybody here in South Texas. So that on the first, I mean, we just launched, like 2 weeks ago? And we've already started talking to community members, asking them what changes do they want to see here, what's important to them. And a lot of the people are saying, things that Henry Cuellar hasn't really been championing for, like true access to health care, having a $15 minimum wage, a living wage to provide for your family, and, funding education for the young folks that actually, want to pursue their dreams.
Yes. Well, you mentioned earlier that you were involved, or somehow you got together with the Justice Democrats. The Justice Democrats are a wing of the National Democratic Party. Do you believe that some of their views, or what views do you believe will resonate with the local people and their views that they have concerning the Democratic Party?
I think a big misconception that people have is that they are coming in and trying to impose, their beliefs and ideas. And Justice Democrats is just one of the organizations that is actually supporting my campaign.
There's at least 15 or 20 within the Democratic Party, so it's just one of many.
Right, that's just one of many. And what I am so happy that I'm able to do now that my campaign is launched is that this is a people-powered campaign, and it's what the people in South Texas want to make out of this campaign, which is a campaign for all of us. So I think, again, like in those, few days that we've already launched the campaign, I have been talking to people down in the valley. Yesterday we're in San Antonio. Today we're here in Laredo. Is those issues that Cuellar has been very silent on, and that's the healthcare issue. Like for us here on the border, we're in a very unique situation where we have to go to Mexico to be able to pay for healthcare. People that have need.
Well, Laredo has always been there and continues to be. There's a big percentage of people who don't have health care in Laredo.
Right.
And who, of course, they don't really argue as much because they just go to Laredo and get their medication. But it's unfortunate that they have to use that avenue when
Exactly.
it should be in Laredo.
Exactly.
It should be available.
That's right. And
On other issues concerning Congressman Cuellar or Henry Cuellar, and I'm going to ask you real quick because I know we're all short for time. The first issue was you decided at the very beginning not to take any special interest monies
yes.
for the campaign. Explain to the public what that means.
Right. So our campaign is completely gente funded. And by that I mean that we're not taking a single cent from corporate PACs, which are these committees that, as a corporation, they decide to give money to candidates. For me, it's really important not to do that because, as I said from the beginning, this campaign is para la gente. And I don't want to be vendida. I don't want to be a vendida and like get money from corporations, because when corporations give money to candidates, they're expecting a return on their investment. To me, whatever the people decide to invest in, that's all that money, we're going to be using it for the campaign.
Well, one of the issues that I do want to bring, concerning that, is that I believe Congressman Cuellar took some money from detention centers.
Yes.
And that is an issue because these are the same detention centers who are actually taking care of these children that are being separated by their families on the border. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's absolutely unacceptable. Actually, I think yesterday there was a report that came out that he, in this cycle, has accepted $43,000. And he's the only Democrat on that list of like top 5 recipients from GEO Group. And he also introduced this bill called the Humane Act, which is anything but humane. And that kind of bill, if you read it, and I've done a quick glance, I read the statute, and it basically allows for the indefinite detention of families in those detention centers. And that's obviously what his GEO buddies want. People like the CEO, George Zoli, like that's what they want. They want more money, because I think a lot of people don't realize that these groups make about $100 per day per person. There's a lot of money that they're profiting off of the human suffering that goes on in there. And as an immigration attorney, I can tell you what happens in there. Like there's been reports of like them issuing used underwear that later causes like infections, and like these people aren't given access to like clean water. They have to buy their own bottles of water for $1.50, and when they work in there they only get paid $2. So it's absolutely disgusting to be profiteering off of that human suffering.
Well, there's also, again, that report that came from the New Yorker this weekend that just came out a few days ago, plus the reports that were coming out of El Paso concerning the Clint Detention Center, about the kids not having toothpaste, toothbrush, a place to take a shower, even have private urinals. I think they only had one urinal for about 100 kids. And kids taking care of other kids. Those are just, in my view, are just unconscionable,
Right.
And things that need to be resolved. But on the other hand, when you talk about special PACs, they also talk about, well, you might be taking a lot of money from out of town in terms of maybe people from outside the district. How do you respond concerning to that issue?
I think that's just a tactic by like Cuellar's campaign to try to project the problems and issues that he actually has with his own acceptance of money from like ExxonMobil and the NRA and like the Koch brothers, and try to put it onto our campaign saying like, oh look, they have the same issue too. But that's not like that's completely different. Like our campaign is accepting money from like maybe outside people, but from the very beginning they know that we're going to be advocating for South Texas values and what we want first. And that's something that has been clear from the beginning. And again, we go back to like Cuellar accepting money from like all those other corporations. When they give money, they are expecting a return on their investment. So ExxonMobil only cares about the interests of ExxonMobil. The NRA only cares about the interests of the NRA, and the Koch brothers only care about the interests of the Koch brothers. Our campaign is gente funded, and gente is always going to be at the forefront, not the corporations.
Well, on another topic, the issue of women's reproductive rights. What is your view concerning that?
Well, as a woman, I think we should be the ones to make the decision of what happens to our bodies. I am a devout Christian woman, as I mentioned earlier. My family and I, we're Christian. And I think right now I'm in a position with my degree and being able to provide for myself that, like, personally, I wouldn't get an abortion, but I recognize the privilege that I have to be able to provide for my child and to be able to make those decisions for myself. As a woman, I don't feel comfortable making that decision for other women because they know what their situations are and they know what's best for them.
I don't know what Congressman Cuellar's views are that, but we'll find out in the near future.
I can tell you what they are. Any chance he gets, he votes against women's health. And it's not just about the abortion issue. Here we're also talking about accessibility to mammograms, accessibility to checkups with your OBGYN. And again, as a woman, like, that's really important to us. So I would be a fierce advocate for women's reproductive health services.
Finally, the issue of, the wall, which is expected to be built close by to Laredo in the near future, unless something else happens. What are your views about what he's doing or what you would do if you were there?
I mean, he's voting for the wall. You can look at his voting record. He's been voting for the wall. And there's people in Starr County right now in the valley that are facing, like, their properties being taken away so that the wall could be built. And that's not, like, again, we shouldn't be having a congressman that is voting with Trump 70% of the time, that's Trump's favorite Democrat, and is voting for the wall. Like, especially here in South Texas, we deserve true Democrat representation, and a true Democrat wouldn't support a wall. We're actually going to be taking a trip down to the valley to talk to those people and see what the real impact of what Cuellar is doing. And I think the worst part of it all is that he's trying to come out and, like, saying, like, no, I'm actually, I tell Trump that we don't need a wall. But if you check his voting record, he's voting for the wall.
What's sad is that people think that when they build that wall, that it really doesn't help the immigration issue. It really does not help. But the thing also, physically, I don't understand how people can support a wall that's being built 10, 20, 30 feet away from the river. And then forget the environmental issues are enough to say no. But along with that, people believe then that the line between the U.S. now and Mexico is that wall. When reality, we're closing American citizens from the use of using the Rio Grande or those 20, 30 extra feet for whatever purposes that they owned it before. In Texas, that is private property. You are, for people who believe in private property or people who are very conservative, it just seems to me illogical to think that you can give away your private property for the greater good, which is the government, and not fight for it, because we're big fighters when it comes to private property. And I don't understand why they would give that up. And I don't understand why they would give up those 20, 30 feet away to the government, and the public will never, or no one will ever have access. And the Mexicans, or the people who are on the other side, think the new line is now the wall. It is not the river.
Right. I mean, it's a
I
bad
don't
idea
understand.
all around.
Overall, it's just the environmental damages that occur because of the wall. I don't understand. But I'm sure that the people in Washington need to deal with it, and I'm sure that all those issues will come around, and somehow the better good, our better angels will come out and resolve that issue. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I'm really looking forward to talking to the people in South Texas. We're going to be having events, coming up soon. We're already hit the ground running. We're already talking to members in the community, and I'm just really looking forward to finally. I think the thing that has shocked me is seeing how shocked people are when they find out that a member of Congress is actually reaching out because they want to talk to them, because Cuellar hasn't been doing that for the past 14 years. So I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready to listen and advocate for the people of South Texas.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, so our website is jessicacisnerosforcongress.com. There's several links there if you want to get involved in our campaign. Right now we're, gathering our volunteers. There's a sign-up link there. There's also a link to donate if you're inclined to do so. And if you want to reach us, please email us, like us, at jessicacisnerosforcongress.com.
Well, thank you for being here. I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
I think the public really appreciates you making your visit here. We'll be having hopefully a few more visits between now and the race. Please keep us posted. I remind everyone, please stay tuned to other shows as well. Make sure that you know what the issues are and challenge our candidates that are running for office, find out where they stand on the issues, and let's vote our conscience, whatever decision it may be, but come out and vote. But do ask questions, because that's the only way we're going to be able to resolve all these issues. People should know that Laredo is the front yard of the hemisphere, should not be the backyard.
Agreed.
And somehow, whatever reason, people don't see it that way. But again, thank you very much, and thank you for watching as well. Please press the like button, 24/7 Laredo, and we'll see you soon again for another edition. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.